So this guy says, the game is not worth the candle. The richer I get, the more miserable I get. You know how this is. You think that your problems may be monetary, and you get more money. What do you do then? When you've got enough money, you start worrying about your health. And you can never stop worrying about that. Or if you're not worried about your health, you worry about politics, if somebody's going to take your money away from you. You worry about taxes, about who's cheating you. And so, the person who goes through all that sees, finally, I don't think the game's worth it. I'm going to resign. And so resignation, or renunciation, is different from repentance. It hasn't got the same kind of passion in it at all. The repentant person feels he's wrong, has made mistakes, has committed sins, and wants to get better. But the renounced person isn't concerned with that kind of thing. He knows that better, progress, whether moral or material, is an illusion. And you have to understand this when you approach, for example, the study of Buddhism. I think one of the most withering remarks I ever heard from an Oriental, he was Japanese. He said once, you must never forget that whereas Jesus was the son of a carpenter, Buddha was the son of a king. You know, wow, take that. And it's true, you see, there is something always of that about it. That this is not the... There's a sense, you see, in which Christianity historically was the protest of the slave class against the Roman establishment. Buddhism was different. It was the abandonment of position by an aristocracy. So we've done it, we've seen it all, we've had it. And so now we check out. And we will be, therefore, we will resign from all games. And if you follow this attitude to an extreme, you're going to make, because it all goes to the center, the same discovery that is made by the person who follows repentance to an extreme. Just as the repentant person discovers that his contrition is phony, the person who tries to resign will discover that he can't. That there is no way of not playing games. Let's go a little bit then into this game theory. There are a lot of games that we play. And it's not only the game of can I get one up on the universe, of pretending that I'm me, this ego, with its name and its role, the mask. But also we have what I call meta games. For example, the game, my game's better than your game. I won't play with you because your game is vulgar, stupid, banal, inferior. And, or one of the most, therefore, effective games in saying my game is better than your game is that I'm not playing games at all. You are. Now, at the lowest level, we find that in the form of, you're not sincere. I am sincere. You are fooling me, whereas I'm not fooling you. I'm being honest with you, you see. Now, that's a great game. And this game of resignation is a form of it. As to say, you are children playing with toys, and you haven't ever really woken up to the important concerns of life. You haven't reached the dimension of ultimate sincerity. All that is to say, ultimate reality. And in order to reach it, you have to resign from distractions. You hear a great deal in the literature about meditation, of getting rid of distractions, wandering thoughts. Well, you might ask, when you think about all that, what are wandering thoughts? What are wrong thoughts? What shouldn't I be doing with my mind? Well, they all say, actually, every day you think about this, and then you think about that, and your thoughts run on in an undisciplined way from one association to another. And you can't keep your mind fully on the job, or whatever it is. So you see, you're supposed to renounce that. Because that's triviality, all those wandering thoughts. They're not about the important thing. Now, what's important? What should you keep your mind on? Well, something. Just so long as you keep your mind on it. In an instruction, one of the Buddhist scriptures says about concentration, one may concentrate on a yellow square on the ground, on the burning tip of an incense stick, on your navel, on the tip of your nose, on the center between the eyes, or anything. And in a footnote, the commentator adds, but not on any wicked thing. And you know, that's commentators the world over. They never have any humor. So, anything will do, just so long as you keep your mind on it. Don't wander. Stick to it. So, wandering is involvement in games by this kind of definition. So then, you try to get out. Can you now get out? Can you stop competing with other human beings? In ancient Greek society, there was a place in the center of the community called the Agon, A-G-O-N. And this was a place for contests, where they had wrestling matches and other athletic events, because all the men were constantly trying to show who was the better. And from this word, the agonia, which means the contest itself, held in the agon, we get our word agony. The struggle and striving to be superior. And a lot of people that you meet you'll recognize this among your friends all the time, are not happy unless they are involved in a contest. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as they're trying to beat something, they're happy. And you may say, oh, for heaven's sakes, can't we just sit around and talk instead of having to play a game or bet or do something to prove who's the stronger? I was once married to a girl who was never happy unless she was engaged in some kind of contest. Well, of course, I had a game that didn't look like one. And so it was a very superior game. just because it didn't look like one. But it was a form of the game, my game's better than yours. So, you can't really not play. You may go through the motions of not playing, but you still are. Now, one of the most marvelous examples of this is the Buddhist Sangha. The Sangha means the order of Buddhist monks, or monks isn't quite the right word because the basis of Buddhist monkhood is a little different from Christian, but I don't want to go into that technicality. Here are these people living in, say, Burma, Ceylon, Thailand, and so on, who go around in yellow robes and have renounced the world. But of course, they've become, as a community, very prosperous and powerful. And everybody, you know, makes obeisance to monks and feeds them. And they don't feed just on rice gruel. Important monks get called into the houses of wealthy laity and get given fine dinners, because the layman feels he's acquiring merit by being so generous to the monks. And you should see the scene in Japan. Although today the monks have lost their power to a large extent, you can see the traces of the power they once had. In the city of Kyoto, the Buddhist orders, Zen, Tendai, and especially Shinshu sect, have the best parts of town. If you stay a night in a Zen monastery as a guest, and go into one of the rooms there, you're not in any hovel, you're in a palace. You live differently from the way we are accustomed to, but you're liable to get shown into a room where the walls are entirely covered in gold leaf and painted by the greatest masters of Japan. You will say, sit down to sleep by a Kano Motonobu screen. And the landscape around you, the gardens, the view, are gorgeous beyond belief. This is the life of resignation.